I had written what I thought was an inspired column about Trump going into beast mode. It was a post-politics column. It was meant to point disappointed voters away from the crass and crooked politics of democracy and toward that process Trump always sets in motion. And that process has been Trump's achievement. Trump has blown the lid off the American political system in all its corruption, in general, and of late he has exposed that farce that is the democratic integrity of the system in particular. Trump's latest unintentional victory is to unmask raw, ripe, unfettered democracy as a travesty to both parties, unworkable except in a territory the size of the ancient Athenian city-state or maybe modern-day Monaco or Estonia, small homogeneous territories. Democracy is when everything is up for grabs without constitutional limits. Globalism is an extension of that. Globalism Trump has exposed as democracy on a global scale funded by Americans. Democracy is toxic from both party perspectives, especially since we no longer have that republic where the central authority has clearly limited and delimited powers. Look, you might just have to accept that the tipping point has arrived, that fucked up Biden campaign worked because it targeted a coalition of weepy white women, and I include here women with the Y chromosome, and the rest of tribalized America. Joe and Kamala won the un-American, anti-American vote, which is now a majority. Republicans and Democrats have tinkered with the country's composition and character long enough to account for Biden's America. You know it. You might just have to accept it. Readers, however, failed to see my process-oriented take as a hopeful one. They wanted me mired in politics, which means mired in that power play of election fraud tinkering. Nevertheless, here again is my positive anti-politics message. Trump is now getting into beast mode. The dissident Donald will be rising now for real. The presidency was Donald J. Trump dabbling at establishment respectability. From now on, he'll be running a populist movement, perhaps a new party. After all, he owns the Republican Party. This operation will run parallel to an administration that's viewed by fully 72 million deplorables as illegitimate. Under the Harris administration, the process of Trump will continue, as outlined in my book, The Trump Revolution, The Donald's Creative Destruction Deconstructed. That process consists of action and counteraction, force and counterforce in the service of our liberties. It'll see Trump, a political Samson, continue to threaten to bring the rotting house crashing down on its patrons. And he'll do so as the parallel president. The healthiest and most intuitive response to deep-seated, irreconcilable unhappiness, political and personal, is to peacefully exit the abusive relationship, political divorce. Above and beyond holding rallies and countering the Kamala administration policies, Donald J. Trump will catalyze many more creative, informal acts of secession. Young patriots, I hope, will congregate in compounds of like-minded individuals. They'll migrate virtually to Parler, the free speech social network, and they'll withdraw en masse from the miseducation system, primary, secondary, and tertiary. Two parallel nations and their attendant presidencies will form, and that low-grade upheaval against the deep state and its deep tech handmaiden will continue. These are all good things.